Shahji, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we are studying application of infrared spectrometry. We discussed the theory, instrumentation of the IR spectrometry, and especially the FTIR. So what are the applications of IR spectrometry? So its applications in the pharmaceutical analysis, both qualitative and quantitative, that are very significant, and especially qualitative analysis. And IR, it is a very versatile tool that can be applied to all forms of matter, that is gas, liquid, and solids. So today we are discussing its various features. So infrared absorption spectrometry is a versatile tool that is applied to the qualitative and quantitative determination of molecular species of all types. Several of the other applications include photoacoustic IR, near and far IR, spectrometry, IR emission, and IR spectroscopy, microscopy. So these are some other ones, but they are not included in your course. So if you see to the table that there are three major regions of the IR, and there are three major applications of the IR spectrometry. The near IR, the mid IR, and the far IR. The near IR region that is mostly used for the quantitative analysis. If you see to the kind of analysis, so they are both quantitative. And solid or liquid commercial materials, common use commercial materials that are usually analyzed quantitatively by these equipments. And similarly, gaseous mixtures that can be used. Mid IR, that is the most commonly used region, and that is used for all types, that is both qualitative and quantitative, as well as chromatographic detective tools. So for qualitative analysis, the mid IR is used for pure solids, liquids, or gases, qualitative in case of qualitative. And for quantitative analysis, it can be used in the complex liquids, solids, or gaseous mixtures. Chromatographic complex liquid, solids, or gaseous mixtures. So it means that the IR can be used to quantify the substance that is present in the matrices. Similarly, for IR, that is mostly used for qualitative analysis as well as quantitative analysis, especially of the organometallic species and inorganic species. So the mid IR region, that is, as we discussed in the theory as well, that they are the region that is present between 670 to 4000 per centimeter wave number, or correspondingly 2.5 to 14.9 micrometer of the wavelength. And that is used for both qualitative and quantitative analysis. The near IR region, that is extending from 4000 to 14,000 per centimeter, that is from the 0.75 to 2.5 micrometer wavelength. That is for the routine quantitative determination of certain species such as water, carbon dioxide, sulfur, low molecular mass hydrocarbons, amine, nitrogen, and other compounds of interest in agriculture and in industry. So that is the near IR region equipments are mostly resembling like the UV visible spectrophotometers. The far IR region, that is corresponding to 15 to 1000 micrometer, that is mostly used for the determination of inorganic and metallic metallo-organic species. Now, how the samples are prepared. So the sample handling, that is important in the IR spectrometry. So we can analyze all three types of three forms of matter, that is gases, liquids, and solids. The most explicit spectra that are obtained in the pure forms, and especially when present in the solid form, as we are discussing. So gases, in case of gases, the spectrum of a low boiling point liquids or gas can be obtained by permitting the sample to expand into an evacuated cylindrical cell equipped with suitable evacuated, that is vacuum is generated in the cell, and then the gas, a pure gas or vapors that are present. So for this purpose, a variety of cylindrical cells are available with path lengths that range from a few centimeter to 10 meter or more. So in solutions, there is problem in solutions. Most of the solvents that are also having their own peaks, for example, water or alcohol or benzene or many others. So they interfere with the spectrum of the analytes. And there are ways to minimize those. That is, they can be subtracted from the computer programs that are allowing that these spectra that are subtracted from the spectrum that is obtained, so that we are only left with the analyte spectra as we are discussing. And beside that, as you will be discussing that the sample container in case of IR, that is usually made up of alkyl halides. So for example, sodium chloride, and that is soluble in water. So water are wet solutions that can never be used in these types of analysis. So when feasible, a convenient way of obtaining IR spectra is on solutions prepared to contain a known concentration of sample, and is generally done in the UV visible spectrometry. is generally done in the UV visible spectrometry. This technique is somewhat limited in its application, however, by the availability of solvents transparent over significant region in the IR. So if you are, you see to this graph, this figure again. So these lines that are representing the area or the range where it can be used for the analysis. That is, these areas are transparent. These areas are transparent, and you see that these the areas which are not having lines, so they are showing peaks at these regions. So they cannot be used for analysis of compounds that are giving peaks in these regions. So for example, if you see to the carbon disulfide, so it is available, can be used in this region. Carbon tetrachloride, tetrachloroethylene or ethylene tetrachloride. Chloroform है, dimethyl formamide, dioxane, cyclohexane, benzene. These are one of the most commonly used solvents. So means that appropriate solvent selection, that is mandatory. Now, several common solvents are available. However, no single solvent is transparent throughout the entire mid-region, as I showed to you. Water and alcohol are difficult to use as solvents in the IR spectrometry. Water shows several strong absorption bands in the IR region. For example, if you see to this figure. So this is the spectrum that is obtained by dissolved aspirin in the water. So if you see that this is the spectrum that is obtained by the computer after subtracting the water peak that is present at this region. So this is the actual, and this is the difference spectrogram. So the spectrum of water is shown along with the spectrum of the aqueous solution of aspirin. The computer calculated different spectrum revealed the spectrum of a water-soluble aspirin. Now, water and alcohols also take alkali metal halides. For example, sodium chloride that is freely soluble in the water. Similarly, the most common material used for cell windows. So in the most common material in the cell windows of the IR, that are actually alkali halides. Hence, water insoluble window materials such as barium fluoride must be used with such solvents. Care must also be taken to dry the solvent before use with the typical cell. For example, if there is only a slight moisture that is present in the solvent, so it will blur the cell and there will be no transparency, and the IR radiation that cannot pass from that. So it is of utmost importance that the cells must be protected from moisture, even the moisture of the air, as it will make the cell translucent and dull. Now, the cells of the compartment or the sample compartment. So, because of the tendency for solvents to absorb IR radiation, IR liquid cells are ordinarily much narrower. So, as you have seen the UV visible caveats, so they are 1 centimeter. But contrary to that, the cells of the IR that is only from 0.01 to 1 millimeter. So they are much narrower than those used in the UV invisible regions. And other difference from the UV spectrometry is that concentrated solutions that are usually required, contrary to the UV visible, in which very diluted solutions that are required. So often relatively high sample concentrations, that is from the 0.1 to 10% are required because of the short path lengths and the low molar absorptivities of the IR bands. Cell liquids are frequently designed, liquid cells are frequently designed for easy disassembly and use Teflon spacers. For example, if you see to this sample, okay, so this is these are the windows that are made up of alkali bromides, okay? And you see that this is the spacer. These are Teflon or neoprene spacers, okay? So means that if you see that this is a dismountable sample compartment, means that if you see these are the screws and these are the nuts and they can be easily assembled, okay? So you can adjust the cell compartment by inserting these spacers, okay? You can insert numerous spacers depending on the amount of analyte present to be analyzed. Okay, so hope you are getting this point. Is it clear? Aman, is it clear? So, a variety of window materials are available. So, window materials are often chosen on the basis of cost, range of transparency, solubility in the solvent, and reactivity with the sample or solvent. Sodium chloride and potassium bromide. Windows are most commonly used and are the least expensive. Okay? So they are prepared from the analytical grade, sodium chloride or potassium bromide, pure crystals. For samples that are wet or aqueous, okay? Wet means that they are containing moisture, or if it is aqueous by itself, then calcium and barium fluoride. They are suitable, although neither transmits well throughout the entire mid-IR region. So it is better to avoid water and water-related things in the IR. Silver bromide is often used, although that is very much expensive. Now, the liquids. So when you are using the pure liquids, that is the sample that are present as a pure liquid. So when the amount of a liquid sample is small, or when a suitable solvent is unavailable, it is common practice to obtain spectra on the pure liquid. So the thickness of a very thin film of the liquid presents a sufficiently short path length to produce satisfactory spectra. So they are only present between the two sample cells. Commonly, a drop of the neat liquid is squeezed between the two rock salt plates to give a layer of 0.015 millimeter thick or less. So a very thin film that is present between the two plates. Okay? That is actually the sample. So a very small amount of sample that is required. The two plates held together by capillary reaction are then placed in the beam path. This technique does not give particularly reproducible transmittance data, but the resulting spectra are really satisfactory for qualitative investigations. So we can use this. Then solids. Okay, so we can use solids sample in the IR as well. So most organic compounds exhibit numerous absorption bands throughout the mid-IR region. compounds exhibit numerous absorption bands throughout the mid-IR region, and finding a solvent that does not have overlapping bands is often impossible. So it means that we are left with the choice of solids, that we can use solids only. So because of this, spectra are often obtained on dispersions of the solid in a liquid or solid matrix. Dispersion in a liquid or solid matrix means that we either add a solid, as we are discussing, we mix the analyte with a solid, or it can be used also in a liquid as well, as we are discussing. Generally, in these techniques, the solid sample must be ground until its particle size is much less than the wavelength of the radiation to avoid the effect of scattered radiation. So it is very much important to grind the analyte to a very low particle size. That is of utmost importance. So now making the solvent, making the solid sample, that is known as pelleting. This is the pelleting technique. So one of the most popular techniques for handling solid sample has been potassium bromide pelleting, KBR pelleting. Okay? And other alkali metal halides can also be used. So what we do is that this KBR that have the property of cold flow. Cold flow means that when it is when this KBR that is pressed under high pressures, so it becomes transparent for the IR radiation. That is, it is showing no peaks in the IR spectrum. So halide salts have the property of cold flow, in which they have glass-like transparent and translucent properties when sufficient pressure is applied to the finely powdered material. Hope you are getting this point. In using this technique, a milligram or less of the finely ground sample is intimately mixed with about 100 milligram of dried spectroscopic grade potassium bromide powder. So extremely pure compound, pure potassium bromide powder that is required, and they are mixed with the analyte solid sample. Mixing can be carried out with a mortar and pestle, or better in a small ball mill. So a small ball mill that can also be used for the purpose. The mixture is then pressed in a special die at 10,000 to 15,000 psi pressure to yield a transparent disc. So extreme pressures are applied to the this mixture that is produced. Now best results, so we are getting a pellet, and that pellet is then placed in the sample compartment for the analysis. Best results are obtained if the disc is formed in a vacuum to eliminate occluded air. So the disc is then held in the instrument beam for spectroscopic examination. So that is the pelleting technique that is used in the solid analytes. Another technique that is known as moles. So instead of pellet, we are making moles. Okay, so in the IR spectra of solids that are not soluble in an IR transparent solvent, or are not conveniently pelleted in the KBR, there are some substances that cannot be pressed in the to form the KBR pellets. So they are often obtained by dispersing the analyte in a mineral oil or a fluorinated hydrocarbon mole. So a fluorinated hydrocarbon mole that is used, and there are certain commercial grade solvents that are available, such moles with the name of Nujol or Fluorolube and others. So often 20 to 30 milligram samples are used for grinding, but samples as small as 5 to 3 milligram can be used. So look at the efficiency of the UV visible of the IR spectrometry. A very small sample is required. The grinding should result in an even, smooth, glossy sample in the mortar. Moles are then formed by adding a small drop of a heavy hydrocarbon that is usually provided by the suppliers. Usually that is known as Nujol. There is a trademark named Nujol. And continuing the grinding process until a smooth paste, similar in appearance to the toothpaste or cool cream, results. So a smooth paste or a cream that is actually resulting. If hydrocarbon bands are likely to interfere, okay, so we are using fluorinated because to remove that interaction of the carbon hydrogen interaction band stretching as we are discussing in the interferogram analysis. So if hydrocarbon bands are likely to interfere, fluorolube, there is a halogenated polymer that can be used instead. In either case, the resulting mole is then examined as a film between flat salt plates. Okay, so are you getting these points? Hello?
Yes sir. Sir, cold flow क्या है?
Cold flow is that routinely, if you are using potassium bromide, so they will be, it is not transparent to the IR radiation. Okay?
Yes sir.
But when we are applying extreme pressure to the KBR, so it gets flattened in a manner, or it is it's crystals that are shaped in a manner such that it is allowing the IR radiations to pass from it, and it become transparent or translucent to the IR radiations. This is known as cold flow.
Okay sir.
Okay, so should we discuss the analysis or in a separate class because it is very much important? I think it is sufficient for today because there is a full length lecture, so that will take then a lot of time. So if you are having any question, you can ask. Yes, any question? These lectures that are also available on my YouTube channel. You can tell your students, you can share also with other students of the universities as well for their benefits. Thank you.